What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. There's been rumors about Marcus Morris for a while. They've surfaced, resurfaced, came back, left away, came back. I mean, it's just the way it is. The guy's always had talent, always been a true veteran, in the league for the last several years, always showed toughness and edge, but the consistency of him showing it has always been a question. I mean, the Boston Celtics questioned it, maybe back in the day when he was on the Phoenix Suns with his brother, and the Clippers questioned the same thing. I mean, the guy has a lot of talent, but if it's not showing in the playoffs and in big moments where you really need it, it really isn't, sufficient enough to say that's what you want to keep. It isn't really something that any team needs. I mean, he shows the talent from some nights to some nights, but then there's other nights where he just doesn't look like, he's in rhythm, or he needs to be out. He needs to be in the starting lineup. Some nights he looks like he needs to come off the bench. It's just a lot of inconsistency with Marcus Morris. It really is. And that's something that the Clippers fight themselves with because they like the guy. And a lot of people actually like Marcus Morris. They like his toughness. They like the edge that he brings. But if he's not going to show up offensively and be that third guy that they actually paid him to be when they gave him the $64 million contract, it's almost like, what's the point? You see what I'm saying? And when you think about what Marcus Morris is able to do, he's a good two-way player when he's engaged, when he's healthy, all those things. But health may be one thing, but even when he is healthy, the inconsistency overrides that and it outweighs it by a milestone. Because you look at Marcus Morris and you think, as good as he can be, why doesn't he show it consistently every night? Especially if he's only asked to be the third scorer when Kawhi and PG is there. Now, Reggie Jackson over the last year or so has took over that third scoring role, and I don't think he's giving it back because Marcus Morris is still showing inconsistency, and, the injuries definitely don't help his cause. Now, here lately, there's been a tweet that came out about a fan or somebody saying or asking him, are you going to Miami? He likes the tweet. So it makes it kind of looks like he's fueling it a little bit in regards to whether the Clippers trade him, if they trade him to the Miami Heat, which is something that is being talked about right now because the trade would be him for, I think, Duncan Robinson and maybe a pick or something like that. That's the notion that's being put out there right now. So if that was the trade that was going on, or if that trade happens, then that would, I'm not going to say that'd be a win-win for the Clippers because Duncan Robinson is pretty consistent with his scoring. I don't know. I don't really look at him as a defensive guy, but scoring wise, he can give you that combination. He can give you that knockdown shooter consistently giving you 14 to 16 points a game if he's given the opportunity, because he's playing really well with Miami. He's been playing well there pretty much since he's been there, which is the reason why they believe in him a lot, or they did anyway. But at the same time, I always say, Marcus and Markieff Morris, they're always better when they're together. I mean, of course, they look alike. They're twins, all that stuff. But I mean, I feel like they definitely rather be together than be apart. And that's just the way it is. Now, I mean, of course, when Markieff was in LA with the Lakers, that was just, him being across the room from his brother, so it's like, to me, with the way they are, they just play better together, of course. So, I mean, would he rather play with his brother and be beside him the whole time? I'm pretty sure he would. I mean, he would sacrifice that for a lot of things. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that what he said, or him liking a tweet that somebody put out there. But I do kind of think sometimes that goes a little bit too far with those type things. Just because you see a tweet or a like from somebody doesn't necessarily mean that's the end all be all of the situation. But I mean, I'm pretty sure if I had to guess, he'd rather play with his brother than anybody else in the NBA. Family over everything, right? That's just the way it's always going to be. You can never really override that. But I mean, at the same time, his brother's out for, I don't know if it's a significant amount of time. He's still out since Jokic pushed him in the back and injured him. And, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if that trade went through, because I feel like, he would be a decent fit for Miami. He really would, even though I feel like he's a decent to great fit for the Clippers if they can get consistency out of him every single night. He's a great fit for the Clippers too, but Miami, he's a great fit for them as well, because maybe he would feel it more at home with his brother, and maybe he'd be more consistent for them. I don't know. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if that trade went through, simply because, like I said, when you like tweets like that and then it's put out online, which it is, you can actually read it online about the tweet and everything. That actually opens up eyes in the front office for a team. When teams see that, it's almost like you're obliging something that might happen, but they haven't followed through on it yet. But if they see you like something like that, and you're fueling the energy towards something like that, you definitely might possibly get traded then, because now it's like you're telling the organization, well, I wouldn't mind getting traded if I did, but if I don't, I'm cool where I'm at. It's almost like saying that to a degree. Or even if you're not saying that, some can actually take it that way, because tweets and memes and all this stuff that's out there now, anything dealing with social media, everybody's looking at it. Everybody's watching it. So you have to watch what you say, and you have to watch what you react to. And for him to react to something like that, I mean, that might actually motivate the Clippers to trade him even faster. So, I mean, you never know. We'll just have to see how that pans out for him and how it can, go. But I really hope, Marcus Morris finds a way to stay consistent, and maybe finds a way to stay with the Clippers. But if he's not going to be consistent, and if the Clippers don't think that they can get the consistency out of him, then, they do what they got to do. Me personally, I'm all about, if you can keep the players you had from last year, great. But the Clippers already have kind of broken that up when they started this offseason by letting go of Patrick Beverley and Rajon Rondo, which I really didn't care about Rondo because I never really liked him anyway. Personally, if I saw him, I wouldn't even, walk up to him and ask for an autograph. Just never been my type of guy. Definitely rubs me the wrong way. Is he a great player or a good player? Is he going to make the Hall of Fame? Of course he is, but just not my type of player. But I definitely respect his basketball IQ, but I definitely think they shouldn't let go of Patrick Beverley, but that's long gone now, so it's no need to talk about that. But this is my point. They've let go of core players before, so Marcus Morris really isn't any exception. So if the inconsistency that he's shown throughout the playoffs last year, coming into this year, and, the injuries on top of that, I don't think it'd be a hard decision for the Clippers to make if they got the right deal with the Miami Heat or another team that they can trade him to if they feel like they're getting a valuable piece back. So, I mean, we're just going to have to see how it goes. I mean, maybe the Clippers end up keeping him because maybe they can put him in a smaller role now, whereas they can, uplift somebody like Norman Powell more and give him more minutes. But then again, that might make Marcus Morris unhappy if they diminish his minutes some, just to, fit in Robert Covington and, Norman Powell. And in saying that, maybe that's the reason why they got those two players, because honestly, as I said, those two players really make up for everything that Marcus Morris does. I mean, Norman Powell is a good two-way player. He can score. He can give you 17, 16, 17 points consistently every night. He can give you that off the bench. See, so it's like he's already a Marcus Morris type. He's not as rough or doesn't have the edge Marcus Morris has, because Marcus Morris is more of a rough caliber type guy, but he does play defense on the other end. And Robert Covington, he can't score that well, as I said before, but he can knock down a three, and he is predicated all on defense. That's what got him into the NBA, is because of his defense. So it's like, really, where does Marcus Morris fit anyway, now that they got those two players? You see what I'm saying? So it really wouldn't surprise me if they let Marcus Morris go. I'm actually kind of expecting it, really. I'd kind of be surprised a little bit if they kept Marcus Morris, now that I think about what Robert Covington and Norman Powell brings to them and what they give to them. I'd actually be surprised, now that I think about it, if they would keep Marcus Morris. And we'll just have to see how it goes, though, because like I said, he is a core player. They did give him a $64 million contract. So when you have contracts that big, you have to be calculated in your moves and what you do and how you go about doing it, because signing somebody to that amount of money, which is not the most money in the world, but it's still a lot when you're trying to get rid of a contract and bring another player on the roster when their contract doesn't match, or when you're just trying to get rid of a player because you just don't think that they're working out. It's just a lot that goes into it when it comes to that salary cap stuff and, just trading and everything like that. So We'll have to see what the Clippers do in regards to their decision. But honestly, with Norman Powell and Robert Covington, they definitely make up for what Marcus Morris does. And they do it more consistently as well. So, I mean, when you look at that all on its own, where does that leave Marcus Morris? That might actually leave him or help him land on another team somewhere, not with the Clippers. So I wouldn't be surprised. But, also, if they end up keeping him, I wouldn't be surprised as well, because maybe they feel like they made all the trades they need to, and maybe they're just waiting for Kawhi and PG to come back to put this whole process together and make a run for a championship. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Khaliis out.